Warning: the Not Real Art podcast is intended for creative audiences only. The Not Real Art podcast celebrates creativity and creative culture worldwide. It contains material that is fresh, fun and inspiring and is not suitable for boring old art snobs. Now, let's get started and enjoy the show.
Hey art lovers, Sourdough here. Got something special for you today. I want to share some audio from a video shoot that Man One and I did a while back at Art Share L.A. in the Arts District downtown L.A. And you're just going to hear us chopping it up like we do. We're going to release the video later of the episode, but right now I just thought I'd share the audio with you guys. So without further ado, let's get the show rolling. Here we go. Man One, Sourdough in the house.
Let's go!
What up, Man One?
I don't know. What up with you? Look, we're here. We're doing.
What do you think about our new studio, man?
I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but it's not familiar to me.
It's not fair. It's strange.
It feels like I'm doing a play. Like I'm in the 8th grade.
Okay.
And there's all the parents are out there, and we're gonna do a play. That's what it feels like.
Well, you know, it's like, the parents love us.
Yeah.
So,
There's like 3 parents in the audience right now.
I'm just glad you were able to make it. You've been so freaking busy.
I'm glad I make it every day. I'm glad I just wake up.
But this is like the busiest year you've had in your career as long as I've known you, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Yeah, it's been super busy. Well, it's all relative, right? Because like business-wise, work-wise, yeah, I think it's pretty busy freaking year. But I'm not raising kids anymore.
Your kids are grown.
The kids are grown. Like they're home right now.
Yeah.
You know what they're eating? I have no
Whatever
idea.
they want.
Whatever they want, or nothing.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't care. That's on them.
That's right. They're adults now.
They're
yeah.
adults now. Fuck them.
Yeah.
So anyway,
You heard it first.
So if I'm here, it's good. So so that's why busy is relative, because when I remember when I had kids when they were young, when the kids were just growing up and all that, that was busy. To me, that was busy because that was like the whole other level of stress and all this other stuff, and on top of doing your work, So I feel good right now. I don't care. Give me more work. It's cool.
Well, based on that cameo your mural had on the Rookie this week, I think more work is coming your way. So just to level set, right? So our boy Eric Winter and our other boy John Steinberg are involved with that show. They've been on this show before with us.
And I think they had nothing to do with me getting on the show either. So I don't know what's up with that.
You know what? Hey, it's all positive energy pointing in that direction.
Yeah.
And now you were actually on the show, or your mural was on the show. Actually, more specifically, your mom and dad were on the show because the mural is of your mom and dad.
Exactly. And the best part is you get paid for doing nothing. That mural was painted like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They approached me, said we're going to use it in this episode, and what do we owe you? I gave them a number. They said thank you. And then that was it. Then they start filming.
But so you're born and raised Angelino.
Yeah.
And you came up here doing your art, so on and so forth. This isn't your first time, right? Having your art featured or showcased on some Hollywood production.
Right.
What are some of the other TV shows and films that your art's been shown
My
in?
art was featured in a movie called The Roommate. John Tucker Must Die was actually my first cameo in a movie.
You were in it?
Yeah, I was in it.
Any words?
No words.
No lines?
No words. I wish, because then that would have...
That would have upped the pay.
That would have upped the pay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they needed a scene, something to connect the last scene to the next to last scene.
Yeah, right.
And they thought, hey, maybe you painting will be a cool thing to transition. And I'm like, let's do it.
So we got to see your back as
I
you're
was
painting
wearing
the
a
wall?
West hat.
Okay. Okay, so.
And you see me painting. It's
Right.
real quick, but the kids know.
The kids know what's up.
John Tucker Must Die. It's a cult movie.
Okay, all right. Well, I got to watch it.
You gotta watch it.
So John Tucker Must Die, ABC, The Rookie, and God knows how many other.
I've done a bunch. Die Hard, the movie.
Die Hard, the movie?
Because it was done in New York. Die Hard, the movie was in New York.
Oh,
right?
of course, yeah.
Hollywood.
But it feels like your dad could have hooked you up with more Hollywood gigs over the years, because he was a painter in Hollywood, set painter.
Yeah. So my dad was
Shout out to Mr. Poli.
Yeah, my dad was a set painter for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Union, whatever it is. And his boss, Dick Gerard, was he's like a legend. He started like at 16 years old working as a set painter, and he retired I think last year, at almost 80 or something.
They're like, dude, you have to retire.
No, he said if he retired, he's gonna die. That's what he said.
Right.
He was
right.
like,
So
if I
a lot of
retire,
people do. They got to keep working. Yeah.
So him and my dad are both my dad. And so they have the exact same personality, fucking hard asses and just grumpy old men, but hard workers.
Yes, fuck yeah. I wouldn't want to have to keep up with them.
And so they worked on a movie called The One with Jet Li. Mm-hmm. And not really my dad. My dad will say that he brought me in, but it was really because of Dick, Dick Gerard.
Right.
So shout out to Dick Gerard for all that.
Shout out.
And so he suggested me to one of the art directors for production designers.
Yep.
And that was a cool gig because I painted the old Belmont Tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Which is a landmark for LA graffiti artists. But I painted the whole outside of it, right?
Okay.
And it was really about, 300 feet long. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. And it was done on the studio set, on the studio stage, I guess. And then they transported it and installed it, on location at Belmont Tunnel. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because I got to do whatever I want. So I just did my name, I got tired of writing Man One. I started doing my friends' names and all this kind of stuff. I'm getting I think they'd pay me a day rate, which was a good day rate.
Right.
And it was 3 days worth of painting or something like that. Installed it, and they shot the scene, right? When you watch the movie, it's not even in the freaking movie. It
ended up on the editing room floor.
No, it was there.
Yeah,
but
okay.
it was like Jet Li is running across this bridge or something, and he jumps, and in the background, 500 feet away from him, is the graffiti I did, but it's nighttime. So you just see little lines, So
hey, you got paid.
I love the way Hollywood spends money.
I know, right?
If you're on the receiving end, it's great.
Because they're just
I don't want to tell them that they could have done that for a lot less, but.
Now, how many artists do you think would have gotten pissed off about the fact that their art ultimately wasn't shown? You are I don't give a shit. I got paid. It was a cool gig, whatever. But, do you think some artists would have been fuck, they didn't show it?
Yeah.
It's an ego trip, right?
Okay, well, I was featured on a movie with Burt Reynolds. Rest in peace.
Burt Reynolds, yeah.
And I think it was called Hard Time or something like that. This is when he was in bankruptcy or something. And so
he had to come out of retirement.
And so TNT threw him a bone or something, and they let him direct 3 movies.
Okay, yeah. Right.
And so it was hard. I think it was called Hard Time. And they hired me to be a graffiti artist in the movie, So it was cool because I got to do the art in the movie.
The writer and the bandit.
I got to do the art in the movie.
Yeah.
But then also I got to be in the movie.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And the backstory is really funny. So check this out. So I go meet the art director, right? And when I walk into the scouting location or whatever, what do they call it? The casting.
Okay.
I go to the casting place, right? There's 3 other graffiti artists that I know there, right? Hey, what's up? Hey, I know why you're here.
Yeah.
So then I go in and show them my portfolio, my book, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We talk about this and that. And at the time, I had a goatee like I have now, and my long hair and all that. And we're talking, the art director kind of likes my stuff and started asking me some questions, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, I'm gonna take a picture of you, if you don't mind, because an idea came up that maybe we wanna cast the artist as the actual graffiti artist in the movie.
Sure.
So there's a chance that, and he looks at me and he goes, well, just to be honest, we're looking for a 19, 20-year-old kid, and you kind of don't look like you're 19 or 20, right?
You look like a father of a 19 and 20-year-old kid.
And he goes, but I'm gonna take a picture of you anyways.
Right.
And I'm like, so I take a picture of me, right? So I leave, right? And you know, sometimes they call you, sometimes they don't call you, right? Like you don't even know if you got it or don't got it. And when you don't get it, you don't find out until you call them, and then they say,
because they're not calling you. That's right.
They're not gonna call you, right? So it's been a week. So I'm like, I didn't get it.
You should have your people call their people.
Right. So my people are like, you know, you didn't get it. So I'm like, shit, you know? So I'm all in my head, I'm all pissed, right? I'm like, fuck, if I would have looked younger, you know, I should have shaved.
Yeah, that Hollywood.
I should have freaking shaved and been like a young kid, right? Yeah. So I'm all going, so then I said, fuck, so I shave. I shave, because I'm like, you know, I might as well
They got you, man. They got it in your head.
They got in my head. So I shave, right? 2 days later, I get a phone call. Guess what? We showed Burt Reynolds your picture. He loves your goatee. He loves your look. He loves it.
Of course he does. Yeah, it's a great goatee.
So we're gonna hire you to be the artist and to be in the, and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, no goatee, no, you know. And so I'm like, shit. And then so they tell me they're gonna shoot in like 3 weeks. So I had 3 weeks to grow the fucking goatee.
You're putting on special ointments and magical potions to get that thing grown out.
I'm just thinking, hey, that's makeup's job. It's not my problem.
By the way, hell yeah, it's makeup's job.
It's makeup, right? So then here we go, right? So I go back and they give me ideas about what they want, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I do some sketches for them, right? And the first thing they say is, okay, so we want you to do this graffiti artist's name. His name is Bandito. And I'm Bandito.
Not even Bandito One.
Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean Bandito?
What kind of name is that?
Right? Well, in Spanish, bandido is a thief, right? Just like bandit, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, and he said, oh, because, you know, of the movie.
Yeah, Smoking the Bandit.
Smoking the Bandit. Yeah. So instead of calling you bandit, we're going to call you bandito. And I'm like, yo, is it because I'm Mexican? I have to be bandito?
Yeah, right.
And he's like, oh, no. I'm like, that's a
racist shit right there.
Yeah, so I told him, I go, I think that's racist.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Well, fuck it is.
I go, why can't I be bandit?
Right.
They're like, oh, well, we can't use that for legal. I go, you know what? It should be wolf. I told the guy. And he's like, no, I think it's bandito. I go, no. Like, it should be wolf. Like, that's a better name. Like, that like a legitimate graffiti artist would have a name wolf. They wouldn't have fucking bandito.
Right. No.
You know?
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. And they said, by the way, this guy, the whole scene, right, is that this guy is like the baddest ass graffiti artist in Miami, right? Sure. That's why he's bandito. And he's the badass.
Boy, they're really working hard to sell this.
But check this out. He's so badass, right? And by the way, in the scene, Burt Reynolds, like, he did some fucked up shit, so they put him on graffiti patrol, right? So he's looking for bandito.
That's like, right? It's like worse than desk work, crosswalk
right? Traffic. Yeah. So this is the thing, is he's supposed to be looking for this graffiti artist, right. And then some stuff goes down, and then, you know, whatever, right? So that's like the scene. So I'm gonna be there tagging a wall, and
sure.
he's scoping me out, right?
Yeah. Taking you down.
But he's so badass. This is what they've described to me. He doesn't use a spray can. No.
Oh no, not bandito.
Not bandito. He uses an airbrush. That was exactly what I was. That was exactly. And I said, oh my God. I said, what? He goes,
clearly they've done their research.
He goes, oh no, yeah, because he's like badass. So he like takes his time and does like badass shit. And I said, this is so rich. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. How are you gonna have a stupid airbrush in the middle of the street at night? They're like, we'll figure it out. But he just does so much detail.
CG.
And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's backwards. If he was so badass, he would just have one spray can. Yeah. He would do all his art with one spray can.
Yeah.
And he would do the details and everything with one spray can because he's badass. Yeah. And they're like, no, it's gonna be right? And I'm like, this is gonna be some Hollywood shit. Like, I better charge him like double of what I was thinking.
Yeah. You do have a reputation and a brand to protect.
So I'm thinking like it's gonna be terrible. I'm gonna be, whatever. All right, so move forward. So I show him the sketches, right? And I show him the wolf piece, right? Guess what?
They love it.
Burt Reynolds loves wolf. He loved it. Right?
Well, fucking,
and I even told him, I go, and you know what? It could be Lobo in Spanish. So if you want to play the Latino thing, go for it. Call me Lobo or Wolf. Yeah. They're like, no, Wolf is cool. We like Wolf. So
Burt loves it.
So all right, so we do Wolf, right? So I show up on the set, finally, the whole deal's done. We're ready to go. They give me a call time. I go, and of course I got to go to wardrobe first, right?
Yeah.
It's terrible. to find out what Hollywood wardrobe thinks a graffiti artist looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They gave me a hoodie with cut-off sleeves.
Yeah, right.
They gave me some baggy-ass jeans. They gave me like this. It was terrible. It looked
Yes.
like, it was
Yes.
terrible. And I'm like, oh, man. And then they do makeup on me and all
Right.
that stuff, right? Okay, cool. So then I walk out.
Did they give you a bandana? Because it feels like they would have given you a bandana.
You know what? I think they did.
Right.
I gotta look
Yeah,
at there's a
bandana had
picture.
to be in there.
I have a picture with me and Burt.
Okay.
I gotta look and see if I have
Yeah,
a bandana.
yeah. All right.
And by the way, my goatee did not grow back. I'm a slow grower.
Yeah, slow grower.
But it wasn't a problem. No one said anything the day of. right?
Okay.
So I show up on the set finally. I'm ready. I'm dressed, makeup. I go in front of this wall, and Burt Reynolds is on the rooftop.
Okay.
Right? And the second AD was his brother, right? Burt's brother. So he's down there with me.
Burt and Ben?
I don't know his brother's name. And he's like, hey, so this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna when we say this, you're gonna run to the wall, right? And you're gonna do your thing, blah, 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 right? And then a few minutes later, you're gonna see Burt's gonna run down the street, right? That'll be the next scene. So it's like 2 scenes. The next scene, he's gonna run down the street. And when you see him run, then you book it. You're out of there, right? That's it. And I'm like, all right, cool. I can handle that, right? And while we're setting up, you do the piece, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. So I got my spray cans, right? Next thing I know, the prop makers, or whatever they are, prop builders, or whatever, they show up, right, with the art director, with this freaking backpack that I'm gonna wear, right? And it's like, like this big and, okay. They said, put it on. Dude, it weighed like 100 pounds.
What?
It's like this super heavy
What
thing,
was
right?
in it?
A freaking compressor is in it with an airbrush coming out the side. And the freaking thing worked. It totally worked.
Well,
the
I'm not
dude
surprised.
is so happy. The guy starts explaining to me, look, I have 5 colors in there. And if you hit this button, the red comes out. Then you do, and I'm like, bro, I'm not even gonna use this.
Right.
Like, it's just the prop.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you can use it. You can actually paint with it. Like, check it out. He starts showing me. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna use it.
Right,
Like,
right.
I'm literally not gonna use it,
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, so these guys, imagine how many days it took them to figure
build
out
that
how to
thing.
build it, make it fit in a backpack so that I could carry it, so that it would
It's
actually
a cool
work.
thing. Like, you'd be like, well, I'll keep it, but I'm not going to use it.
I should have kept it.
You should have,
I didn't think about that. I should have kept it. I should have just walked off with it.
Totally.
Right? No, they didn't let me. They didn't let me walk off with it. So anyway, so I do the spray paint piece,
Yeah.
says wolf, right? Then we're gonna do this. Now we're ready for the shot. And there's all these people everywhere, like 100 people doing nothing, right? And they're all hanging out. And so finally Burt comes out, right? And his brother goes, okay, Burt's gonna talk to you now, all right? You listen to whatever he says, like he's the boss, right? He's, all right, cool. He's like, hey, what's up, man? Nice to meet you. I'm like, hey, what's up, Burt? How you doing? He's like, great, this is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be super easy. You're just gonna run against the wall, do this, blah, blah, blah. That's it. And then we'll do the next shot. Any questions? And I go, yeah, do I really have to wear this fucking backpack?
Right. Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, you have to wear it. And I was like, okay, cool, right?
Yeah, well, Burt says so.
So Burt turns around, dude, like 3 people rush me, like his people, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
And they're like, don't you ever talk to Burt Reynolds that way again. They're freaking out. And I said, what? He asked me, do I have any questions? And I told him, do I have to wear this?
How dare you
Because I don't want it.
have
And
a
they're
question
like, don't
after-
ever question what he says. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, he fucking asked me. He asked me if I should wear it.
Right,
You know?
right.
I know, whatever. So he asked me if I had a question. I did.
Yeah.
Well, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So that's what I did. So then we do the scene.
Yeah.
Right. Boom, 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 boom. Whatever. Then now it's scene number 2, and it's funny because scene number 2, like, supposed to be painting with my airbrush, and then I see Burt, and then I run away. Right. And then Burt runs towards the wall, and I'm gone. And he gets his wallet and he throws it against the wall, where it says wolf.
Right. Because he's so pissed.
Yeah, he's so pissed, And he threw it like twice.
Thwarted by
It only took like 2 takes.
wolf.
It only
the
took
wolf thwarts him again.
Yeah, and he just fucking threw it, right? So that was it, right? We're done.
Yeah.
Everyone's clapping, awesome job, right? So then, they got their photographers and said, we need to get some photos with you and Burt. And I said, yeah, of course, So Burt comes over, right? And he's a cool guy, right? So he hugs me and he's like, hey, good job out there, whatever. He's like, hey, Wolf, I love that. I love Wolf. He goes, it reminds me of Dom DeLuise. You know Dom DeLuise? He always say, woof, woof, woof. That's what it reminds me of. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever.
Cannonball Run.
So there you go. There's my story. Wow. Except,
Yes.
fast forward. But
there's
wait,
more.
there's more. That was the onset. Right?
Yeah.
So then they give me the date it's going to air, right? It's going to air on TNT, whatever date the premiere was or whatever. But, straight to TV, right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Cable TV. So I decide, let's have a little viewing party at my in-laws' house.
Sure.
Why not?
Family affair.
Show my wife and my kids weren't even born yet, I don't think, or they were really small, but I don't think they were born yet. But anyways, I said, show it off to the family, right? So we all gather around TV. My father-in-law has a big ass TV, right?
Right.
Shows up, premiere, hard time, blah, blah. And I'm the first scene, right? Because what happens right at the beginning, you see Burt Reynolds and he's all pissed off because he's on graffiti patrol. So he goes up on top of the roof and he's like, yeah, I'm looking for this guy Wolf and blah, 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 right? And so you see him look through his binoculars and there's just random graffiti that they filmed from somewhere.
Sure.
Right? That he's looking at, right? And then all of a sudden he's like, there he is, right? And I'm like, telling everybody, check it out, There he is. But they don't show me. They don't show me. They just said, here he is.
Of course.
And they cut to...
It wasn't in your contract, man.
They cut to the part where the freaking guy's supposed to be breaking into the warehouse next door or something like that.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, what's going on over there? And then he runs to go take care of that, right? And then the next scene, you see him run back and he sees where my graffiti's at.
Right.
And you see him go up and then he throws the...
See,
So you saw my graffiti piece?
but
It
not
said
you.
Wolf,
Right.
but not me.
See, this is a lesson for your people. See, next time they got to have that shit in the contract. You do not get cut.
Well, apparently next time I shouldn't talk shit to Burt Reynolds.
That was your fatal flaw.
That's where I messed up. I shouldn't have said anything.
Well, I mean, well, first of all, I love the story in part because, I've known you, 17 years, and I don't think I've ever heard this fucking story. So, every time we sit down, I learn something new, which is fucking great. It's pure entertainment for me. But, there's so much to laugh about there and talk about there. But the reality, too, is just, how fucked up Hollywood can be around graffiti culture sometimes. They don't really want to respect the culture. They don't want to go that extra mile to get it right, do they?
They want it to be real enough.
Yeah.
They don't want to really be real.
Right.
I mean, obviously in nowadays they really try to make it as legit. Let's go back to some of the other projects I've done.
Yeah.
I get hired a lot to mimic gang graffiti or street graffiti.
Sure.
Like in an alley or whatever. Just because they're afraid that whatever's already in the alley is some real gang graffiti.
Yeah, right.
And they don't want to promote it or
Right.
whatever. So they'll paint out the whole alley and then bring me in to fake it, right?
Right.
So it's quote unquote real graffiti,
Yeah,
right? 'Cause
right.
It's a real graffiti
Faux.
artist doing it.
Faux gang writing.
But I'm just putting sourdough on there and shit, So it's whatever.
Sourdough?
Yeah.
Giving me a bad rap.
But so it's real until it's not,
Right, right.
But that's kind of funny. I mean, the other thing too, that another aspect of Hollywood, right? Apart from that side, then there's the celebrity part, right?
Sure.
And Burt Reynolds fell in love with the portraits that I do, right?
Okay,
He saw my portfolio, and
By the way,
yeah,
man1portraits.com. Excuse me, portraitsbyman1.com.
portraitsbyman1.com.
Correction.
Yeah, portraitsbyman1.com. It's a thing now.
Yes, it's a thing.
And so he fell in love with my portraits and wanted me to do a portrait of him and his grandson.
Okay.
Right? And so his agent said, could you do it? I said, yeah, of course. That'd be awesome, This was after the whole gig, right? And I get this Federal Express package with photos of,
Sure. Yeah.
these badass photos of Burt and his grandson, right? I'm like, cool, right? Yeah. Right on.
The reference material.
The reference material,
Yes.
right? FedEx to me,
Yes.
right? So then I'm like, that's awesome, whatever. I figure out what size it needs to be. He wants both of them in the same painting,
Okay.
right? So it's got to be a pretty large canvas, whatever. So I'm trying to figure out the size and everything. So I call the agent and I said, hey, I got the materials, thank you. I'm looking at this and looking at that, and I think it should be this size. They're like, that's perfect. Oh yeah, it's gonna look great in his home. I said, yeah, it's gonna look awesome, And I said, and so I have some different ways we can do it, this and that, whatever, and then I'll email you, the prices. She goes, prices? What do you mean prices? I'm like,
Wait, we have to pay for this?
and
We
then
don't pay.
And I said, you know, like my fee, yeah? And she goes, oh, you're not gonna just do this for him? And I said, no, I'm not gonna just do it for him.
You're not going to donate to the Burt Reynolds charity?
And she goes, you know how many people will see it in his house? And I go,
Exposure bucks, bitch.
and I said, if you pay me and you hang it in his house,
Right.
you know how many people are gonna see it in his house?
Yeah.
You know? And I said, yeah, it's my job, it's what I do.
Right.
You know? So
Does Burt Reynolds
I'll-
act or direct for free? No.
And so I said, I'll give him a good deal.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I'll work with him.
Yeah, I'll
you know?
charge him double.
You know, I know he's going through bankruptcy. I didn't say that, but you know.
Oh,
But-
that's what you should. Oh, is this
that's what I
because he's
should
going
say.
through bankruptcy?
Yeah. And then I said, you know, no, yeah, I'm serious. This is what I charge, you know. And then she goes, oh no, there's been a misunderstanding.
Celebrities don't pay.
And so I was like, oh, I guess there is a misunderstanding. She goes, yeah, can you just
Send
those photographs to this address and FedEx them?
And
back
by the
to-
way, we're not going to reimburse you for the FedEx.
you know, they did pay for the FedEx.
No.
At least. I put their account number.
It's shocking.
At least they paid for their FedEx.
Yeah.
But that's my celebrities don't want to pay story.
Dude.
Of many celebrities
No,
don't
that
want to pay
shit
story.
happens all the fucking time, right? What you were telling me a story the other day about when we went to see KRS-One,
Yeah.
the KRS-One story. Oh, he loves your work, and I want that piece.
Yeah.
But I thought you were going to donate it. He says,
Don't donate the piece.
and we love KRS-One.
We
I
love
mean, I'm not,
KRS-One.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
but artists should not. It's bad enough that artists get exploited by publicly traded corporations that have the budget to pay a fair living wage. Yeah. It's an absolute cardinal sin for an artist to exploit another artist.
Right.
I mean, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Especially an actor that can fucking afford $5,000. Because that's, you know,
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what it would have been.
It would have been around that.
Yeah, we're not talking
No.
a ton of money here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I would have traded for his.
Where does that come
For his
from?
car.
Like, I mean, as an artist who gets hit up all the time to work for free, donate your work for free, where does that come from? How does that make you feel? Like, how do we stop the madness?
Well, the way you stop it is, as an artist, you just have integrity, and you're not going to sell yourself short.
Sure.
So it's a personal choice, and that's how you stop it. If everyone says no, then eventually they'll get the hint. But the problem is, you have artists who'll say yes. You know, they'll do it for free. They'll do it for the exposure. They'll do it because they're a fan. They'll do it for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
But when I think you really need to look at what you're giving away. You know, it's like, why would I give it away? You know, I mean, there's family and friends prices, of course.
Of course.
Right. But just giving it away.
It's up to your discretion.
Yeah.
Right. If the artist wants to donate their time and energy and artwork, great.
Right.
But that shouldn't be the baseline.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, even now it's even crazier because of social media, right? Because now you have this whole thing where people take pictures of your stuff on the street all the time, and they just think, well, then art is free.
Yeah.
Right? I took a picture of it, it's mine. Perfect case in point to that, Kylie Jenner took a photo of one of my murals, in front of one of my murals, like years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And,
Over on Hollywood Boulevard, I remember this.
Yeah. And, it got over like 1.2 million views and like
Well, it is Kylie.
700,000 comments.
Yeah.
She never tagged me.
Right. Well,
so I got
course
no credit, no love
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what if I took a picture of Kylie and posted it on my Instagram?
you'd be hearing from her people.
I'd be hearing from her people, even if I tagged her.
Yeah, yeah, right. Especially if you tag her.
Right? So, but why? Is it because she's rich and famous, then it matters? Or because she's a celebrity, or, it's just a weird thing, but I think artists just need to figure out, what they're worth and just stick to it, and fight for, you have to, that's what I've discovered my entire career is that you have to fight for everything, You can't just assume people are going to be generous. You can't assume people are going to help you out. The other day, I was doing a project for another company, which shall remain nameless.
Tell me the name, I'll name them.
No. No.
I think I know.
You probably do know. But somebody else in that company, not my...
I'm just going to start naming companies and you
not,
just tell
not my
me.
client.
I'll start right now. You want me to start?
No.
I'll start naming companies.
Not my client directly, but someone associated with
I see.
the client.
Okay, 1 degree of separation.
Came to me and said, met me on the job and said, oh, wow, this is cool what you're doing. This is awesome. I love it, blah, blah. check this out. Look at this other stuff that I'm doing with this other artist, right? And he shows me, and it's cool stuff, right? And the guy tells me, isn't it really cool? I go, yeah, it's awesome. He's doing these like realistic like portraits and stuff with very intricate. And he tells me, God, I wish he would have charged me more because this guy's stuff is really good. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, the guy totally like low bid. He like bid so low on the project, I go, but you paid him. He goes, yeah, but that's what he bid, so that's what we gave him. I said, and you couldn't have said, oh, by the way, this X is our budget.
Right.
Like, we're just going to give you what we had anyways, because they already had a budget in mind.
Sure. Yeah.
But he's telling me like a cool thing, like, oh, dude, he should have charged me way more.
As if he had no power.
He had no power.
Right.
Poor guy. He just had a checkbook.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sad that guy was a sucker.
It's so sad that I work for a huge corporate company. And
it's so sad that I had to exploit this poor human.
I didn't want to exploit him, but he exploited himself.
Yeah, right.
So, it's the thing, that's kind of like what I'm talking about. It's like, so as an artist, like, number one, you have to just look out for yourself. And my deal, when I work with corporate companies, like, I don't care who it is. If they're a big brand, corporate, you get my best work, but you also pay top dollar.
And the unintended consequence, right, that I think a lot of artists don't understand is like, when you do that, when you give your art away for free like that, you hurt all of the other artists. Yeah. It devalues the work that artists do. Yeah.
And there's always one idiot who's going to do it for free.
And there'll be an idiot that takes it.
I was supposed to do an album cover for LL Cool J, and years and years and years ago. And the art director was talking to me, and there was going to be a video shoot that was also going to be a photo shoot, and the artwork was going to be used somehow for the album.
Sure.
And we were negotiating for like 3 days. And it was all good, and then all of a sudden it's Friday, and I don't hear from him, and the shoot's on Saturday, and I'm like, dude, we've been talking for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So I called the art director back, and I'm going, hey, dude, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I forgot to call you, but we found someone who's going to do it for free. And I said, does LL Cool J know that the guy's doing it for free? He's like, oh, well, it has nothing to do with LL Cool J. I go, it's his album. Like, what do you mean it has nothing to do with him? You know?
Right.
Like, I think you should let him know that that someone's doing his art for free, And he's like, well, it's the director. It's someone he knows, and he's doing the director a favor. And I'm like, well, that's whack.
Right.
So I got, lost a good sized gig just because someone wanted to do it for free, And that happens like all the time. I could go down the list and tell you time after time where that happens. And, I don't know, I think artists just need to, it takes courage, like I understand, like, especially when you're like hungry for a gig, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, like, someone dangle something in front of you and like, hey, what do you think?
LL Cool J.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I haven't been paid for anything in the last 6 months anyways.
Yeah.
What's one more gig I'm not gonna get paid on,
Right.
And then they say yes.
But I can probably flip this gig into a paying gig.
Yeah. And you know what happens? I always tell young artists, don't ever give your stuff away, because one of the things they tell you is, next time we'll hire you because next time we'll have a budget.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, what happens is next time they do have a budget, but now they have the budget to hire the guy they really wanted to hire the first time. Yeah. And so they just leapfrog right over you. So you help them get the budget that they're not going to use you on the next time. And that's what artists, I think, need to realize, is that also when you're negotiating and you're trying to get paid or whatever, I do 50-50. 50% up front, 50% when I finish, right? And that's another thing I learned, because a lot of times they'll negotiate it, well, we'll give you a percentage now, a percentage later, the rest on here, or we'll do it in payments or whatever. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you get one payment and then they're ghost. Or you finish the project and you're chasing them down for a couple $100 for like 6 months, Right. And it's like, it's just not worth it, So all those things, being able to stand up for yourself and say, no, this is how I do it, right? I get paid 50% up front. Right. And if you don't like it, then I can't work with you. Right. And if you can't be that like cut and dry, then they'll take advantage of you, And so, but it does take some courage. It does take some learning, and for me, it's always like, I got screwed over on the last job. That ain't never gonna happen again. If I fuck up, if I fuck up once,
right? It's on you.
I'm not gonna keep making the same mistake over and over.
Yeah.
But a lot of artists, they do. I've known artists my whole life who are still making the same mistake now that they did when they were 20 years old, you know? And it's because they don't evolve, or they don't know how to negotiate, or they just don't want to deal with the business. And that's fine. Then get someone to handle your business, you know, if you can't handle it yourself, you know? That's the other part of it, right? But anyways, it's just like, it's ever evolving trick of the trade that you gotta learn. I don't know, but.
Yeah, man, I mean, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. You know, and it's you gotta lose sometimes, and you gotta never lose your power to walk away. You walk away, know what your walk away price is, and that's it. And it doesn't have to, we're talking about a fair living wage. We're talking about a rational strategy to figure out what you're gonna charge. Yeah. And it's not that difficult. You know, if you think about, oh, I wanna make $100,000 a year. Okay, cool. Well, do the math, figure out what that equals out to an hour of your time. Right, figure out how many hours that project's gonna take you. Do that math. Oh, by the way, figure out your materials and figure out what that lift is gonna cost you. Factor in the material costs. And then I say, double it, because that gives you the profit and the room to negotiate, because they're always gonna negotiate down.
Yeah, they're always gonna negotiate, yeah.
And just be bold, say, yeah, no, that's gonna cost $10,000. Well, we only have 5. Well, okay, it can't be as big as you want it. It's gotta be, like there are levers and dials that you can turn up and down. Commercial art, commercial photographers, commercial designers, in the advertising world, I mean, there's a whole rigor and a whole practice and policy around how you bill for creative services. I think there's a lot artists can learn from that.
And also, I think, when you're dealing with brands, with corporate companies, you have to kind of get outside yourself and be on their side looking in.
Yeah.
Right? And really think that, what is their culture about, right? Like, how do they run their business?
Yep.
Don't worry about how you run your own business, because then you start thinking, well, man, I shouldn't charge them $2,000. That's probably a lot of money, you know?
Right.
Look on their side and figure out, oh, well, they just rented this hall for like $10,000 a day. They just flew in the musician that's gonna perform tonight at $100,000.
Right.
They just, start figuring out like what they do.
Right.
And then that makes it really easy for what you can charge.
Well, and what you're getting at is ask some fucking questions. Ask some questions about what the project is, what's involved, who's involved, what's the deadline, what's the constraints, these various things, and that helps to paint a picture as to what you're dealing with, And I think a lot of, like, for example, agency XYZ is calling me for a project for Nike or whatever. Great. Oh, they're calling me. Oh, cool. I'm gonna bid this project. I'm gonna, you never think to ask, are you talking to any other artists?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Are you, how many other artists are you talking to? Right. Oh, 6?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Who are you talking to? Well, we can't tell you that. Well, okay, well, at least they're talking to 6 other artists. Yeah. That says a lot.
Totally.
But I think a lot of times our egos, they're talking to me. No, they're not. They're talking to you and 5 other people.
Or another thing is, what's your budget? Artists never ask, what's your budget?
Yeah, thank you. Let's start with
they
that.
Just sit there and be like, let me see what I'm going to charge them.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you're like, what's your budget? They're like, well, we got $20K, and you're like, oh shit, I was going to ask for 5.
That's right. Yeah, because they ain't going to reveal shit. They might answer a question.
Yeah. Sometimes they do. And what's cool now? Obviously, I've been doing this a long freaking time, but what's cool now is that a lot of times when they come to me on projects, they have a budget in mind now. And they want to know if you can fit within their budget. Right? And there's a couple of ways to get, number one, sometimes they'll just tell you, like, hey, this is all we got. This is, we want you, and this is what we got. Can we make it work?
Right.
And then that's awesome, because then you can say yes or no. And if yes, but we need to do this or do that, and then we'll make it work. The other thing is they'll say, that they're looking to work specifically with you, and then they won't tell you their budget really, but then you give them a range, right? And you say, well, we could do this for that, and do this. Just kind of throw numbers out there, and and then you'll feel when they're like, oh yeah, that sounds good, Right. And then you kind of figure out, But it comes with experience and knowing all that stuff, But yeah, I mean, early on when you're first starting up, like, you don't know a lot of that stuff, and you don't know how to ask the right questions.
Well, and also understand that your competition, you're competing with free.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how the fuck do you beat free?
Yeah.
And that's that's a big challenge, and it's a systemic issue,
right?
Because if the client or the buyer doesn't give a shit,
right?
Good luck.
Well, I've done projects. Matter of fact, I did a big tour with I was on tour with what are they called, the Vans Warped Tour.
Okay.
Years ago, and the way I got that project was I bid what I wanted. It was 6 weeks around the country, and I told them what I wanted per day, and they were like, "No way." Right?
Yeah.
And that also included my own RV to be driven around the country.
Right.
And they were like, "No way." Right? You can, I said, "Okay." So I didn't get it. Right? So they hired a 19-year-old kid from New York, and after I think like 3 or 4 shows, the kid literally freaked out, got on a train, and went back to New York. Couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Being on stage with 20, 40, 50,000 people.
Right.
Freaked him out.
Yeah.
And so I got a call. "Hey, remember that gig we were offering you last month? Well, we need you.
Right.
And can you be in Denver tomorrow?"
Right.
And I'm like,
and can you have a check? We're waiting for me.
Yeah. And then I said, "Oh yeah, well, by the way, you remember that price I gave you and all that?" They're like, yeah. Well, now it's more because now I got to leave tomorrow.
Right. And so, I have to cancel this other gig that I had.
And so they paid top dollar and sent me out. But so sometimes you get it because of the quality of the work or your experience. So another thing I tell artists is like when someone tells you no, just move on.
Right.
Like don't dwell on it.
Right.
Don't get all depressed about it. And dude, it's totally a numbers game.
A mentor of mine a long time ago told me, get to the no. Yeah. And what he means by that is like, find out quickly. Right. Are they going to accept your terms or not?
Yeah.
And if they say no, then and you're free to go.
That's
right.
Yeah, I'll talk to people and we'll be negotiating, and then they won't say yes or no, and they'll say, "Oh, well, we'll call you back." And if they don't call me back, then I call them. And if they don't answer, I call them. Right. And if they don't answer, I bug the shit out of them until they say no. Right. Because until they've said no, it's still a possible yes.
Well, and getting to the no, I mean, look, I feel like a core driver of this dysfunction is a complete misunderstanding or appreciation of what one's time is worth. The greatest limited resource we have in life is our time. And so to act like you got all the fucking time in the world is a loser to begin with, and when you understand you have X amount of hours to live on this planet and in this day and this week, and you're going to manage your time a little more carefully, especially if you want to have life, and I don't know, I'm just amazed. For me, it's a cardinal sin. Don't waste my fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the worst thing, right? But again, for example, another thing artists get all the time is like, "Oh, well, just do a quick sketch for me, Just do a little concept for us to see if we like it. Yeah. If we like it, we'll hire you."
Well, okay, this is another fucking thing. Now you just opened up a whole other can of worms. Yeah. We're supposed to wrap up.
Oh, we are?
And, now, and here you are. Because, hire me off my portfolio.
Yeah.
I've worked with Nike, Coke, Apple,
whatever. Yeah.
And you see the portfolio. You saw my website. You liked it enough to call me.
Right.
Okay? Right. All right, ask for a proposal. Right. Don't ask for fucking spec work.
Yeah.
But it happens again because
people will do it for free.
Yeah.
People will do spec work all day long.
Yeah.
In hopes of so and so, you know.
And years ago I had a big pitch with Coke, and it was a big branding, design, packaging project. And we went in, we gave them a couple little ideas, nothing. It was just big ideas, very high level. And we knew that they were talking to like 6 other agencies because it was a big project. Yeah. And so I called up to follow up, and the woman at Coke said, "Yeah, we've just decided to go a different direction because all the presentations, like we had so many great ideas, like we just decided to pick one and pursue it internally." I was just like, fuck it, yeah, because they're Coca-Cola, they can get away with that shit. What are you going to do? You're not going to sue Coca-Cola when you're a $1 million company. You know? I don't know, man. You got to fight for your rights.
Well, you know what else they do is that I think it's funny is I've had companies ask me to do spec work. I said no.
Yeah.
And then they get the spec work from the other artists. So then they call me back, and then they pay me something to
do their shit,
to do a concept.
Yeah.
And then they'll show me the spec work.
Right.
They'll show me like, well, this is what we so-and-so sent us and this, and we didn't like that, and we didn't like this.
Right.
So for all the artists out there who are sending spec work, the only people who really see the spec work are the artists that they hire afterwards.
That's right.
That's who gets to see
And here's another idea. Fucking charge a nominal pitch fee.
Totally.
You know, oh,
Yeah.
you want me to pitch some ideas? Okay, that'll be $2,500. That'll be $500. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Always charge.
Right.
Fuck them.
There, that's a good way to end. Always charge, motherfuckers. All right, man. One.
Cool.
See ya.
Good seeing you.
Hey there. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to like this episode and share it with your friends on social. And if you haven't already done so, please be sure to press subscribe and follow us on IG at Not Real Art Official. We appreciate the support. Sourdough out.